Hi everyone, welcome back to Aidans Railways. Today we're going to have a look at the new Hornby Basset-Lowke Steampunk range. We've got 3 locomotives, we've got 6 pieces of rolling stock, and I've got to tell you, I'm loving it. It's really interesting, it's totally different, it's very sci-fi. It's got me feeling very sci-fi. Why don't we take a look? Beam me up. So this is the Hornby Basset-Lowke Steampunk range. Currently, as of 2020, there are 2 steam locomotives and 1 diesel locomotive, or at least that's what they appear to be. There are 2 coaches, 4 wagons, 2 enclosed and 2 open. Hornby Basset-Lowke have done an amazing job with the packaging. I really like it. It's pretty much the same packaging across all of the items, but they've included these cards. Now these cards remind me very much of collector cards. Each card has the image of the item inside the box with the name of the item, as well as a brief description on the back or part of a backstory. Now this locomotive is Rogue. I've got to say this is probably my most favourite out of all of the 3 locomotives that are currently available. There's a little bit of backstory here on the card that comes with the model. It says a Lady Tryphenia Lovelace's Diesel Dames engine, designed by committee as a slow-moving armoured vehicle to get troops and armaments to the frontline battle with the Martian invaders. The Rogue clearly is the brute able to smash through barriers and still take a heavy load. The Diesel Dames bought stocks and invested in a few of their own, repurposing them to run on rails as had always been suggested. They increased their speed without damaging their pulling power. So as I said before, Rogue is almost definitely the favourite for me out of the 3 locomotives. Rogue has a sort of very brutish look. It's got these 2 huge turbines on the front, or at least I believe they're turbines, and armour plating on the side. You can see all of the extra pipe work that's been involved. It's got a real bulky, aggressive look about it. It definitely looks like the equivalent of a land tank, but on rails. It certainly looks like it's got plenty of pulling power. Now, for all it's very square and has a lot of lines to it, I get the impression that this would actually be quite a fast locomotive if it was in real life. It just has that appearance of brute strength and speed all together. And now we move on to the locomotive Leander. Now, reading the backstory from the card, Adderstone's Coupe Commando's engine, made from old rolling stock and whatever may have been lying about. Never mind the exterior, the true genius of this engine lies within. Every inch unique and engineered to perfection so that she runs like a dream and punches like a pugilist. And if bits on the outside can't hold up to the strains, they can simply be replaced or remoulded. Like the family broom, it's only had 3 new head gaskets and 2 new dead man's handles. Well, I don't know about the family broom, but that certainly sounds like Trigger's broom from Only Fools and Horses. This locomotive certainly has a bit of a military look about it, just in the way it has been constructed. And as the backstory says, it's been put together of bits and pieces of anything that was lying around. Sort of a make do and mend locomotive. So definitely a steam locomotive. You can see that huge boiler on the body there, and absolutely loads of pipe work. We've got the outside cylinders and connecting rods. I think there's no hiding the fact that this is most definitely steam. So Adderstone's Commando's engine, it certainly gives the impression of a battering ram. I don't think any obstructions on the railway line would get in the way of this locomotive. I give you Adderstone's Coupe Commando's engine. Now this locomotive is fearless. Now the backstory on the card for this locomotive is Boston Gray's Hatter's engine. Designed with speed in mind over pulling power, the sleek curves and classic fittings with the brainchild of Boston Gray himself. He said the idea came to him during the revelries of a particularly fun party. It was the chic engine to have, and if Boston had one, his chums would have one too. Of course, all subtly augmented and painted to the desires of the owner. Now, Fearless has this very streamlined look about the front of it, almost a little A4, you could say. This locomotive gives the impression of speed and speed alone, almost looking like the shape of a bullet. It certainly looks that if you had some cargo that needed to be moved from one place to another, that this would be the locomotive to do it in speed and get it there on time. Now, unlike Rogue, this locomotive is almost definitely a steam locomotive, and you can see its outside cylinders there and connecting rods. Detail in the cab area has been picked out with the dry brushing of this silver paint, and you can see all of the controls there for your locomotive crew to use. Whilst having all of these sleek streamlined curves to the locomotive, it certainly looks like it's pretty armoured as well. I think it's pretty safe to say that any cargo that was being delivered with this locomotive would be pretty safe. I give you Boston Gray's Hatter's engine. Now for the two open wagons, we have the Goggle Polisher wagon and the Hatter Milliner wagon. For the two enclosed wagons, we have the Darjeeling Crate wagon and we have the Dinosaur Hatchery wagon. All four wagon bodies are cast resin. The cast resin bodies to these wagons gives the model some serious weight that ordinarily in their plastic counterparts would have them being very light. Although the impression is there is lots of separately fitted parts, it is in fact all one moulding. All four of the model wagons have metal running wheels, which freewheel really well. As with all of the rolling stock and locomotives in this range, they feature the large D-shaped tension couplings. I have to say that the one-piece moulded shell appears to give the impression it would put up with some serious use and handling, and that not much will fall to bits. Looking at these model wagons, you can see just how easy it would be to modify some old second-hand wagons yourself, just using parts left over from model kits and sticking them direct to the bodies. This might actually be something that I have a go at. It seems pretty simple, and the paintwork seems to just be sort of a red oxide brick colour with a copper or silver metallic dry brush painted over the top of all of the detail. Now, I can understand that this will not be to everybody's taste, the steampunk range, but I have to say, although at first glance, when I looked at them, I didn't think they were going to be to my taste, but after closer inspection, they sort of set off the imagination. Now, reading from the card included in each of the wagons, it says, "Tea, tea and more tea, in bulk and on the move. Basset-Lowke had the ingenious idea to put his tea factories on the rails. Why waste time drying and mixing the leaves at the plantations when it can be done just as safely on the move? Well, as safely as highly pressurized boilers, threshing blades and drying ovens can be at speed." Moving on to the two coach packs that you can get, we have the Thermopile Impulsion Tea Coach, or at least that's the way I believe it's pronounced, and the Difference Factory Coach. Now, reading from the card included in these coaches, it says, "So this is the new world, a world of mad science, eco-warriors beneath the waves, and empiric wars." Now, for me, that almost sounds very Mad Max. Continuing on, it says, "The free mast clippers are now too slow to get their precious cargo past the devastating submersibles of those that despise empire, whilst the horse and cart falls constant prey to the tan-hungry lizards that slip through the time streams. But the tea has to get through, the world demands it." So already in that description we've got the idea of time travel and giant lizards and sort of Jurassic Park and Journey to the Centre of the Earth. We've got all of that sort of thing going on there. Now, I purchased these items on a whim, more to see really what they were like up close and personal, and I'm not disappointed. One of the great things that have come out of this is Aidan is heavily into what we'll call cult classic films, so your Godzillas, your time machines, the horror things like The Blob and so on. So when he saw these and I sort of explained roughly what they were about, suddenly stories were starting to be made, and it's actually proved quite difficult to do the filming for this video because Aidan has took over a lot of the items and has quite literally been making stories since they arrived. So it's also got the creative juices flowing from both myself and Katie. We've been referring to many films and television shows and books as to what these could actually be used for. Now, I'll be really interested in the comments to see your ideas. So here's one we'll put in. We'll start off with, how about Stargate meets Journey to the Centre of the Earth meets Catherine Cookson, possibly. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on getting any, or if you have any, or if you already have a steampunk layout. I think the sort of model railway that we're going to produce using these items is going to be very sort of War of the Worlds meets the Time Machine in a Victorian era. I think Katie came up with a really great idea about travelling through the Stargate and entering a world where steam power was still the main source of energy. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this closer look at the Hornby Basset-Lowke Steampunk range. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on getting any, or if you have any, or if you already have a steampunk layout. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you again soon. Bye now. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, click on the round button. If you enjoyed this video and you want to watch some more, there's another video at the top of the screen and there's a playlist at the bottom. See you again soon.